I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is for Charzino, the second of two reviews for him. Once again, thank you so much for the PayPal request. If anyone's ever interested in sending a request of any type of video, you do it either directly via my PayPal, and the link for that is down below, or you do it via my Patreon, which there's certain tiers for certain things. If not, no worries. But for today, talking about X-Men 2. Now, X-Men 2 is a film I remember seeing back in the day. I don't remember if I saw it in the theater. Now, it's once again directed by Bryan Singer, who directed the first film. Bryan Singer, there's many rumors about him. I don't know what's true and what's not. But he sort of disappeared after he pretty much got fired from Bohemian Rhapsody. And he disappeared, so again, I don't know if that makes the more valid, the rumors. I don't know. I don't know. That's up to people in the comment section. But I would say, of the X-Men films, I remember seeing the first X-Men in the theater, not minding it for the time. It's not a bad film, the first X-Men. There's some issues I have. They're not films I love. I rewatch over and over again. But at the same time, I remember not minding the first X-Men because really Hugh Jackman's a part of it. I think he does a fantastic job as Wolverine. I like Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. I like Ian McKellen as Magneto. Halle Berry, she'd work as Storm, but the way her character is written is especially in the first film about the fucking what happens to a fraud who does shit. Shitty line. It's like they wrote all the shitty lines for Halle Berry. I like Halle Berry, but I think she does better here as Storm, maybe because she has at least not as bad of dialogue, but I like Halle Berry. Like I said, I like Charles Xavier's, the way Patrick Stewart plays the character, same with Ian McKellen. Then Wolverine, it was funny how Dougray Scott was going to play Wolverine in the first movie, but then Mission Impossible 2 ran over. I'm glad that happened because Dougray Scott, I've seen him in films. He doesn't impress me. Hugh Jackman, though, was definitely the serendipitous choice, so to speak. And I can understand why, technically in the comics, Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. He's the star. Well, not the star, but he's the leader. I just see why the movies focus more on Wolverine because Hugh Jackman just knocked out of the park. No fault for James Marsden. Just Cyclops. Really to this day, Cyclops has never really gotten his day in court for a movie of any sort. They still haven't done Cyclops justice. I mean, that's one issue with the X-Men movies is Cyclops is really a nothing character and he's the leader of the X-Men. And it's like, I don't think it's James Marsden's fault. It's just they've written really nothing for him other than being the third wheel in this love triangle with Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Because even in this film, he gets knocked out fairly early on. He's out of action for a good chunk of the movie, and then he has one scene where he tries to kill Jean Grey because he's mind controlled. Which, funny enough, that reminds me a shitload of the Avengers with Black Widow and Hawkeye, now that I think about it. The whole... Yeah, it was like Jeremy Renner trying to kill Black Widow in the first Avengers, wasn't it? Because of Loki. And then here it was him trying to kill Jean Grey because of... I forget the character's name. That's messing with Dr. So I'm like, did they steal that bit? Cyclops, Jean Grey for Jeremy Renner, like, for Avengers? Never know. I mean, they're both Marvel. Different kinds of Marvel, because... Anyway. But yeah, this movie, I do think it is the best X-Men movie. I do think it's the best... What did I say is my favorite Bryan Singer movie? Maybe. Maybe. I have to think about that. It probably would be my favorite Bryan Singer film, X-Men 2. It is a good movie. I mean, the way it opens with Nightcrawler, I think it does a great job showcasing the character's power of teleportation, the way the camera and the slow motion, and then you have the music. Da, 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 da. I thought, that's a good way to open the movie. Again, the way the camera is, it's not heavily edited, so it showcases the teleportation powers of Nightcrawler. That's a hell of a way to introduce a character. I'll say that. Brian Cox as William Stryker. Brian Cox is a good character actor, and he definitely relished the role here, you could tell. Wolverine, he's looking a bit more to his past, doesn't find too much about it, he comes back. And Wolverine definitely has a lot of good moments in this, especially the scene where, of course, the story, Brian Cox, the part of our organization, William Stryker's son is a mutant, and he blames Charles Xavier for this. So pretty much the plan is William Stryker wants to take out all the mutants, so he needs Xavier and another Cerebro and all this stuff. But again, most of the actors work well. Ian McKellen once again as Magneto. Rebecca Romijn, when she was Rebecca Romijn-Stamos, still hot. Even in blue scales, wherever this blue stands, she looked very hot even then. I do it in a heartbeat. Even with blue over, well, it wouldn't be pain to be your skin. I'm like, I'm part of the Blue Man group. Just call me one of the Blue Man group. And that's part of the group. You need to go home. But it's one of those things with X-Men 2, like, what more can I say that has been said? I think it's a better sequel. It's better than the first one, and I don't hate the first one. I don't love these films. I don't know, maybe because I didn't grow up with X-Men. Maybe because with superhero or even action movies, I'm more of a guy that's kind of more into a solo, or maybe two at most. Because, which is strange because I like the Ninja Turtles and those are 4 characters. But even with 4, you do a good handling of, if done right, developing the characters, maintaining the characters. When you get a group that gets bigger and bigger, it becomes more difficult because you can't concentrate on every single character. So sadly, some are going to get lost in the shuffle, or they're going to be demoted, or they're going to be put in the background. For example, Cyclops in these movies. And so, for example, okay, you got Rogue, who's in the film, but definitely not as much as the first film. And pretty much her bit's falling for Iceman. And then you got Pyro, played by Doug from the Hills of Eyes remake. So, kind of me, because my friends and I would joke back in the day how I looked like the guy from the Hills of Eyes remake. It's Doug. You don't kill some mutants today, Doug. But he's in this as Pyro. Which they never do anything with Pyro. Did they do anything with Pyro in the third movie? It's been so long since I've seen the third movie. I can't remember now. But I liked... It's a well-directed movie. The story was interesting enough. I thought it elevated the stakes even compared to the first film. The action scenes I thought were even better handled. Same with the special effects. I thought were a step up from the first one. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman still does a great job. He's even, how I put it, go to the sequence where the bad guys are going to the mutant school, Xavier school for gifted mutants, and Wolverine just goes to town. Now granted, you can't do much with the rating it has, but even then he's just killing a bunch of people, and part of me says, I wish I could see more, but it's well handled, solidly directed. It's not edited to hell and back. There's some cute moments, like when Wolverine has the claws and there's the little kitty cat and it starts licking the claws. So some of the humor worked well in that sequence. It showcases how dangerous Magneto is, because, which I thought this was an interesting idea, whether it's bullshit or not. Whatever. I mean, it's superhero film, so you take a chance with anything. I guess it could work, but then it just basically go, wow, Magneto should be able to do a lot more than any other movie. Where Mystique had met with this guy, of course she can change form, tricked his ass to eating or drinking this stuff, or actually injected him. She injected him after knocking him out. And then when he came in, and he's the guard for Magneto, he senses the metal in his blood. He had too much iron. And is able to suck all that out. Which is kind of fucking violent for the rating, which I appreciated. And yet he's able to do that. He just destroys the whole fucking cell that he's in. Again, shows how dangerous and deadly Magneto can be. Mystique, I thought it was interesting where part of me went, does she have the hots for Wolverine? Or she's fucking with them, but part of me's like, I wonder in the back of her head she has this sick fondness for Wolverine. Mainly for the scene where, even though they're all on the same side for that moment, she pretends she's Jean Grey, then she pretends she's all of these other characters, in order to get in Wolverine's pants. And it's okay, you guys were fighting in the first film, but you two go fuck. Is this a thing? That would have been interesting if they went that route. Cyclops gets Jean Grey, but Wolverine will get Mystique. Part of me is actually for that for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but part of me would be for that. It's sad that Charles Xavier, Patrick Stewart doesn't have a lot to do here compared to the first one, but that's because of the story. Because he gets taken, he's pretty much there for this other mutant to use him on this other Cerebro Brian Cox's character and this group have made. So yeah, it feels Patrick Stewart doesn't have as much to do here as the first one, which is disappointing. Again, Cyclops doesn't have much to do. But these are nitpicks. Overall, the action scenes still work well. The fight Wolverine has with, I guess, Lady Deathstrike, which she was definitely a lot more in the comics that I remember, or even the cartoon, the X-Men cartoon from the 90s. So it's kind of sad that became a throwaway character. And she doesn't really have a ton to do in the movie. She's pretty much just there for Wolverine to fight. Which I guess is fine, but I mean, it could have been really any character that you just picked out of a hat. But yeah, I don't mind the fight. I'd probably say maybe I like the fight between him and Mystique more in the first movie. But it's still a decent fight. Jean Grey is fighting Cyclops, and you get inklings of her Phoenix power. I mean, it even ends with the Phoenix, if you look closely, in the waves. I know, well, I don't know, but I'm guessing Bryan Singer wanted to do X-Men 3. I guess the power, either he wanted to wait too long, or he's like, hey, I want to do Superman first, Superman Returns, then I can do X-Men, and then they're like, fuck you, we're not waiting, so we're going to get the guy who did Rush Hour. I've never hated X-Men 3. It's a flawed film, but I've never hated X-Men 3. I know that's something I'm not supposed to say, but like the jump ahead, one of the things I liked about X-Men 3, Wolverine gets to kick a lot of ass. And the ending where it's just, there's the mutants, they're kicking a lot of mutant ass. So cheap thrills, maybe. But it has its issues. Like, you didn't need to kill fucking Charles Xavier. You didn't need to fucking... You didn't even need to kill Cyclops. It's like, wow, that's like the final nail for that character. You could give him more to do. Not just kill him. I don't know. Going back to this. The finale of the film, watching it again, is not as huge as one would expect. Meaning, when you've seen superhero movies in the past 10 years, the ending becomes this big gargantuan battle and all this crazy shit. And then if you watch this, it's not really that. Because it's Halle Berry is freezing the room to get the professor in control of his mind again. It's Jean Grey dealing a little bit with Cyclops. It's Wolverine fighting this Lady Deathstrike. And then it's Jean Grey saving them from a dam busting open. It's not a big, you fight that, explosion, explosion, explosion. Here's more, the entire fucking city. So part of me is, oh wow, it's not as grand as I remember it being. But then other part of me goes, well, is that a bad thing? Compared to, you almost see the same thing in superhero movies now. So I don't know, just one or the, I don't know, I'm a bit in between on that. But yeah, I thought it was cool. They tried to build up Nightcrawler a bit. I thought the actor did a decent job as Nightcrawler. I like to say the action scenes, for what they are well shot, well handled. The special effects are pretty decent for 2003. The stories flowed fairly well. Other than those little nitpicks I've been talking about, good popcorn entertainment. I still would say it's the best X-Men film, because I would say, one, it has, I think, the most interesting story for me, where you have this anti-mutant guy, and I thought Brian Cox did a really good job as Stryker. Again, I thought I did a nice job developing some new characters like Nightcrawler and giving him a Banon beginning sequence. Some of the more memorable scenes of the franchise is from X-Men 2 with Wolverine fucking up people and the assault on the school. There's really nothing egregious or embarrassing, like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I didn't care for that in X-Men 3, I'll admit that. You didn't need that shit. Oh, because it was on the internet. So what? Gives a shit. I don't hate X-Men The Last Stand, but stuff like that you didn't fucking need. This film doesn't really have, or even the first film with the stupid Halle Berry You know what happens to a fraud if you're just hit by lightning? Who gives a shit? But overall, X-Men 2, good movie. Still think it's a good movie. And I know this not much of a review. I apologize, Charzino, but it's one of those scenes where, I don't know why I stuttered there. Anybody and everybody has talked about X-Men 2 and they've seen it. What more can be said? There's many people going to have better, more intricate reviews than I do. All I can say is I think still a fairly solid flick. But thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.